The Black Death, Spanish flu, COVID, some of the deadliest plagues in human history, costing the human population hundreds of millions of lives since inception, posing as the biggest threat to humanity, well, apart from ourselves. Now, humans are pretty weak creatures. We might have the most advanced brain and technology, but we get folded by the common flu. Bacteria and viruses, by their nature, spread. That's how they reproduce, so as a species, they continue to stay alive. But what if we underwent a plague that wasn't a spread of any physical contagion at the bacteria level? Heck, what if it's not even clear what is being spread or the cause of it? How do we know until we see its effects? So imagine this. You're going to school in 1962 Tanzania. Okay, that might be a bit difficult to imagine. You're going to school in Tanzania. That's also difficult, isn't it? Just imagine you're going to school, alright? And a meme pops into your head, and you just start laughing. Maybe a bit too much. Since laughter is contagious, right? Your friends start laughing, and then their friends start laughing. Before you know it, the whole school has absolutely lost it. At this point, the teacher can't do anything to make them stop. It's self-sustaining. It eventually becomes so bad that it just keeps expanding to other classrooms, even breaks out the school. This laughter had the town in a chokehold, infecting over 1,000 people before it subsided. Remember, this was a small town as well, that had at most a few thousand people living in it. At worst, the symptoms would cause lightheadedness, which would result in being out of breath and fainting, and weirdly enough, rashes. I don't know how that was caused. The laughing eventually died down a year and a half later. So apparently this was a coping mechanism at the time, because Tanzania the year prior gained independence from the British. I mean, I guess that's kind of understandable why you would be stressed. But for 14 months? What? At least it's an effect which is noticeable, unlike this next one which makes no sense at all. Oddly enough, this next documented one also occurred in 1962, where a bunch of workers in an American textile factory suddenly felt nausea, dizziness, numbness, and vomiting. These symptoms spread to 62 workers who claimed it was caused by bug bites, and thus the plague being called the June bug epidemic. However, I don't buy that. Researchers claimed it was possible some of the 62 actually had bug bites, but the rest had no signs, no bite marks, or anything that would indicate bug bites. This doesn't sit right with me, because even if the workers without bites got placeboed into thinking they were bitten, no bugs had been discovered that can actually cause these symptoms, least of all a June bug like the epidemic is called. So I'm gonna throw my own prediction into the mix, as if there wasn't enough misinformation on the internet. I'm calling it, it's lead poisoning. So let's see if lead poisoning was possible at the time. Then what can lead poisoning cause? Well, there's no way these workers had to work with lead, right? Well, case in point. But that's just my theory. These examples are apparently cases of mass hysteria, where a group of people collectively experience some illness without any particular cause or reason. A lot of it is usually explained by brain do funny thing because other people do funny thing. Well, turns out Salmonella already made a video on that, so that messes with the rest of the video I'd planned out. So I decided, let's bend the definition of plague a little bit. Now, a plague doesn't always have to be physical. We have the saying, spread like a plague, that we use anytime something reaches mass populace. Let's entertain that thought for a second. Or did the thought entertain us? But actually though, what can reach more people than a thought? I could say, and now you're thinking about, we take it for granted now, but the ability to just say something and have the possibility of hundreds, thousands, and millions of people hearing it is kind of wild. Before, you had to be a celebrity to have that kind of scope, or just be really, really loud. This might seem like a cop-out, but think about it. Or don't think about it, because that's how it spreads. But what if all thoughts aren't good, and just the exposure to a thought can harm the person receiving it? We've seen this firsthand in school or college, unless you're homeschooled, where a rumor or sometimes even the truth spreads way farther than it should have. And that's just in class. Imagine something online, like for example, this video. I could find step-by-step instructions on how to make a bomb from items you can find pretty easily in a store nearby. Such an example is often provided when explaining an info hazard, which is a spread of info that can cause the receiver of said info to become harmed or even cause harm themselves. There's a great video by Kyle Hill if you want to find out more about info hazards, but for now let's say I did give out instructions on how to make a bomb. How would that affect you? First of all, I know you're too lazy to even try, but in the case your laziness doesn't save you, just searching these items online will probably put you in a list. Even if the information isn't harmful, lots of videos exist purely to grab your attention, trying to find space in your mind. Heck, even this video could be a plague on your YouTube feed. So I had to bend the definition of plague a little bit to make it seem like thoughts can be a plague, but why not just break the definition altogether? Turns out we spread stuff subconsciously all the time. Social contagion refers to the spread of knowledge, feelings, attitudes, and behaviors across a social group. It's literally the propagation of emotions. If one person feels something, it's likely that the people around them reciprocate by matching that feeling. We don't realize it in the moment, but mimicry is something humans do constantly. By mirroring others, it helps us to communicate, bond with others, and build trust. Although it may seem positive at first, it also has a few big pitfalls. In mirroring the public, we also lose our own voice in trying to fit in. You don't say what you actually feel, you just mimic what other people feel. You had no opinions about pineapple on pizza, but since someone said it tastes bad, it has since had a negative connotation in your mind. Marketers use this to their advantage all the time. One of their goals is to make the audience emotionally resonate with a product, whether it's Nike and empowerment, McDonald's and enjoyment, or Budweiser and horses. If marketers associate a product with positive public perception, that will increase brand affinity, and as a result, increase sales. If you've seen those Thai life insurance commercials, you know how good they are at making you feel something. Particularly, gut-wrenching sadness. Anytime I've seen a Pixar movie and been sad, I keep thinking how it will never top a Thai commercial. It's gotten so ingrained into my mind that I've associated the feeling of sadness as a whole with Thai life insurance. And that's just with sadness. Toxicity, on the other hand, especially online, is much easier to spread. If you've been in an Xbox Live lobby, you know what I'm talking about. So if even emotions are contagion that can be manufactured, what even is real? How are people supposed to find out what is disingenuous and what affects them? How are you supposed to protect yourself from external manipulation? I don't know, figure it out. I mean, the answer is probably introspection and self-awareness, but I'm going to let you figure that out for yourself.